we should begin this second day of the Oxford Alumni Weekend in Asia, and it's a great pleasure to welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen. The sun is shining in Hong Kong, and of course we are all in a windowless room, but hopefully the activities of the morning will shine bright in all of your hearts. We stand here in front of this magnificent backdrop of the dreaming spires of Oxford, and again you see an awful lot of blue sky there. Now I'm sure all of you have memories of Oxford with blue sky and sunshine all the time, although it's not a surprise that those heavy clouds are coming over. That sounds more likely. Now, I hope that you've had a good rest, ladies and gentlemen, and that you've had a lively, exciting morning. Those of you who attended the mindfulness session, I know will be calm and rested, and I know that you will never look at a raisin in the same light again. And it's a great pleasure to see so many people here in Hong Kong this morning. And I, bright and early, I suspect a good number of those college dinners last night went on quite a long time. So to see all of you here so early is excellent. Today's program, very much we hope, will convey some of the insights and energy of research, of scholarship currently underway in Oxford. And we're going to start the morning with a view of the medical landscape of the not so distant future and Oxford's role in developing revolutionary new treatments for different illnesses. Now, after a buffet lunch, we will return with that fine Oxford tradition of debate as leading minds from Oxford and from the BBC will respond to the question of Asia's role in the 21st century. And then later on in the afternoon, we'll be treated to one of the most passionate and eloquent voices in Oxford on the joy and the mystery of mathematics. This evening, more than 250 of us will celebrate in true Oxford style at our black tie gala ball as we're serenaded by the Oxford Gargoyles, that wonderful group. They're one of the UK's leading a cappella jazz ensembles made up of current Oxford students. Our programme is already well underway, and it's my job this morning to give you a brief update on Oxford as it sits in late March in 2014, and to encourage all of you to come and visit us in Oxford, come and see the way in which the great university is thriving. But let me make one piece of housekeeping. Any of you who would like to tweet or post on Weibo or on Twitter, please do so, and you'll find the addresses in the attendee list, written on the attendee list. But let me, as I said before the first session, say a few words about Oxford. This is, of course, first and foremost an alumni reunion, but we very much wanted to bring a little bit of Oxford to Hong Kong by bringing some of our foremost academics here to give you an insight as to what is going on in Oxford. Now, sometimes it is tempting to see Oxford as the centre of the world. In fact, many of us think the centre of the universe. And we will always hold a special place in our hearts for Oxford, wherever we go, whatever we do. I think you all here recognise it's a very special city and a very special university. And as a university, it is probably unlike any other anywhere else in the world. Back in the UK, it's sometimes easy to think of Oxford in a very parochial way. It enjoys, if that's the right word, a talismanic status in the British media. It sometimes seems that no story that could possibly be detrimental to Oxford's image is too small for someone to run a few lines on it. And that's fine, up to a point. In the words of Oscar Wilde, there's only one thing worse than being talked about, and we all know it's not being talked about. But the reality, as we all know, is that Oxford is much more than a national institution. It is, in fact, an institution that works on 3 levels simultaneously. It is a regional university, it is a national university, and of course, it is truly an international university. Now, as to the first of these, its place in the region, just in the last few weeks, we've had the great delight of being fought over by leading politicians in the United Kingdom. We've had visits from 2 of the foremost politicians in the UK. The first was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, and then a couple of days later we received a visit from Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Both of them came to Oxford, and they came because they wanted to announce a major investment of the British government in the university and in the regional economy of Oxfordshire. It was known in the UK as the City Deal, and it was very much celebrating what in Oxford we've known for a long time, that Oxford is a vital part, the university has a vital role to play in the economic growth and prosperity of the region. And that's fueled by the kind of knowledge-led innovation at which we in the university excel. And we were delighted that government recognised that and has decided to invest more in that excellence in the university. Both of our visitors, our important visitors, emphasised the importance of innovation as an engine for future growth and prosperity, and the role of research-intensive universities like ours in producing that innovation. In fact, recently Oxford was ranked among the world's top 5 hotspots for innovation. So at a local level, as well as at an international and national level, creating a regional environment in which entrepreneurial activity can thrive is good for Oxfordshire, and it's good for Oxford University in its mission to continue to attract the best students and the best researchers from around the world. Now, many of you in the audience will be familiar with the excellent work of ICIS Innovation. That's Oxford University's technology transfer arm, and that role in establishing and spinning out new companies in the region and in the country. Those companies come from the work that Oxford academics carry out. And in recent weeks, the university's investment in those spin-out companies has paid rather handsome dividends. Just recently, a computer animation company called Natural Motion, which was started by one of Oxford's professors in the zoology department, it was sold for more than $500 million. And the university's share of that sale, nearly £30 million, will be partially reinvested in new companies and partially reinvested in the university's endowment. And that's a very important part of the university's underpinning of its activities. It helps us support, more than any other activity, our ability to attract and finance that critical part of the university's life, its students. We exist to serve our students, and being able to attract them to Oxford without any concern for the financial challenges that presents is a priority for us. Now, you will all be aware that the British government's reforms of student funding have entered their second year now. And under the new system, British undergraduates will pay £9,000 a year. Now, of course, that is still not as much as international students will pay for an undergraduate accommodation. And I must say, it is still not enough to cover the full cost of the outstanding education that Oxford provides to our undergraduates. It does, however, underline the absolutely critical importance of providing bursaries, financial support for both undergraduate and graduate students who come to Oxford. Now, at Oxford, as you all know, we take internationalization of our student body very seriously indeed. Over 60% of our graduate students and around 15% of our undergraduates come from outside the UK. It is only by admitting the best students to a university, it is only by then recruiting the best faculty to a university that we are able to continue to achieve that core mission that we have of developing and enhancing scholarship of the most outstanding kind. Students and the recruitment of the best students and the recruitment of the best professors form a virtuous circle. One very much helps the other. And of course, higher education is overwhelmingly in the 21st century an international enterprise. The links that institutions make with other universities, the research collaborations in which their faculty and graduate students are involved, as well as the subjects and the degrees that they offer, are all international, are all global, are all of great relevance to the world at the beginning of the 21st century. So within our fundraising campaign at the university, we've placed a great importance on bursary funding for our students. And we've had considerable success, particularly in raising funding for our international students, not only at graduate level, but also at undergraduate level. Now, if I may, I'd just like to spend a few moments telling you about the fundraising campaign on which the university and the colleges have embarked in recent years. I think many of you will know that we reached our initial campaign target of £1.25 billion some years ago, and we decided that with such success we needed to raise our ambitions. We needed to lift the goal higher, and we set a new goal a couple of years ago of £3 billion. Our aim is to secure funding for student support, for endowed chairs, for capital projects, as well as for a wide range of college projects. And we've had amazing success, particularly in the last 2 years, in which between all the parts of the collegiate university, including the Rhodes Trust, we have been raising almost on average £250 million across the collegiate university each year. Oxford alone is currently responsible for 1/3 of the UK's philanthropic fundraising for higher education. And I would very much like to thank my colleagues working on fundraising in the university and the colleges for their fantastic efforts. I'd like to thank all of you too, all our friends and our supporters and our alumni for your enormously important support throughout the campaign. Our achievements could not have been possible without you and without your outstanding generosity. And that generosity comes in many forms. Yes, of course it comes in the form of financial support, but it also comes in your time and your volunteering and your roles as ambassadors for the university. This level of philanthropic activity has made us #1 in the UK for fundraising, and it's also put us at a level which is equivalent to the top 10 universities in the United States. And that places us in the top 10 universities worldwide. At the moment, March 2014, the campaign tally stands at the remarkable figure of £1.75 billion. And so I'm confident that by the end of next academic year, we will be touching that very critical £2 billion number. We've had some magnificent gifts along the way. Let me mention the Moritz Heimann scholarships for disadvantaged undergraduate students, the wonderful gift from Leonard Blavatnik for the new School of Government in Oxford, the recent pledge from Canadian John McCall McBain for the Rhodes Trust for graduate scholarships, the funding of the Oxford China Centre from Hong Kong's own Dixon Poon, and also the funding and pledge from Mika Ertigan for scholarships in the humanities in memory of her husband Ahmed. But we've also made fantastic progress in more incremental ways. In particular, our matching schemes for the Teaching Fund, a critical priority in Oxford, has allowed us to endow 75 tutorial fellowships across the collegiate university. And now our graduate scholarship match fund has allowed us to raise £45 million for the support of graduate student scholarships. In September 2011, we did a survey of how well we were doing for funding student support, and we tallied 28 million in September 2011 for student support across the board. Last month, when we did an updated tally, we had reached £150 million. Quite remarkable. All of this campaign fundraising fits with Oxford's vision of itself as a truly international university for the 21st century. Now, I spoke earlier about how Oxford stays with all of us forever, and how we will always retain a vision of Oxford at the time that we were there. But Oxford, your Oxford, changes all the time. And the physical environment of Oxford reflects the university's aspirations as a truly international university. So we have big plans for the coming years in terms of buildings and facilities. And over the last few years, we have been giving physical expression to those aspirations. I look at this magnificent depiction behind me of the dreaming spires of Oxford, but now when you come to Oxford, in addition to those magnificent spires, you will see an awful lot of cranes, the dreaming cranes of Oxford. The spires look to the past, those cranes, they look to the future. Now, some of you will remember along the Woodstock Road, let me give you another marking point, opposite the Royal Oak Pub on the Woodstock Road, there used to be a rather mundane hospital. Well, that now is the new, a wonderful new campus almost for the university, a new site where we're developing academic buildings. It's known as the Radcliffe Observatory Quarter, and last year we completed the refurbishment of the original historic hospital building, and it's now become a new home for the Humanities Division of the university, a place where interdisciplinary research in the humanities is carried out. Last year, we were also on that same site on the Radcliffe Observatory Quarter, we opened the Andrew Wiles building for the Mathematical Institute, a wonderful new space for mathematics, providing teaching, research space for hundreds of academics and students for that vital subject that underpins so much of our academic activity. Last year, on the Radcliffe Observatory Quarter, on the other side, so Walton Street, you all remember Walton Street, and the Oxford University Press Building, opposite that building, you will now see rising out of the ground the new Blavatnik School of Government building. And the Blavatnik School of Government is in the second year of its cohort of students. A stellar group of international students. Now, this whole site is truly the last extensive space within the inner part of the city, and it's a marvellous resource, and it's one we intend to use wisely. A little further out of Oxford, you will find Oxford's Medical Sciences Division, and you'll hear some of its work in a few moments' time. That division has been flourishing. Let me point out that if our Medical Sciences Division somehow was sliced off from the rest of the university, it would be equivalent on its own to being the fourth largest university in the United Kingdom in terms of research support. Quite remarkable. It's been ranked number 1 in the world by the Times Higher rankings for the last 3 years, but it very much needs buildings to match its status and ambition. And we've been investing in new research buildings in our Medical Sciences Division over the last several years. And I'm really delighted that last May we were able to announce a new initiative. It's known as the Li Ka-shing Center for Health Information and Discovery, and it's possible by magnificent generosity from Mr. Li Ka-shing here in Hong Kong. We had an inauguration ceremony last year which was graced by the presence of both Mr. Li and the UK Prime Minister David Cameron. Now, I mentioned the Oxford China Centre a moment ago, and that's going to be a magnificent new centre for all activity in Oxford focused on China. It is being built at St Hugh's College, and it will become a hub for intense activity on China. Just last December, the university held its largest ever public event in China, with the first of what will be a biennial series called the Oxford China Lectures. It was held in Shanghai in front of an audience of more than 400 people. It was given by Professor Steve Rayner, Professor of Science and Civilization at the university, and he spoke about the challenges of designing cities in the 21st century. But of course, very fittingly, Oxford's links with Asia extend far beyond China. So far, for example, our tropical medicine research groups, now in their 25th year, have expanded from their founding in Thailand in a partnership with Mahidol University in Bangkok. The tropical medicine units have now expanded to encompass Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, Nepal, as well as outposts in Afghanistan, and then in Africa, a very large research unit in Kenya. They are focusing on the development of practical and effective means of diagnosing and treating malaria, dengue fever, and other tropical diseases. We have, with our engineering faculty, a tripartite partnership with the National University of Singapore and Peking University in China, focused on the development of sustainable water technologies. Right across Asia, the links with Oxford are profound. There are currently 1,664 students at Oxford who have come from the Asia region. There are nearly 7,000 alumni living in the Asia region. We have 282 nationals from 11 countries in Asia currently working at Oxford as members of our academic staff. So you can see there is enormous connection between Oxford University and Asia in 2014. These are connections we are very proud of. These are connections we hope to strengthen and develop in the coming years. Our links to Asia are enormously important to us. But you know, the most important part of those links are you, our alumni. A university is only as strong as its alumni. You, spent very special years in Oxford, but now you are ambassadors for the university. You go out, you talk to your friends, your colleagues, your neighbours, you present Oxford and you tell the world about Oxford. You help us with your volunteering, your loyalty, and with your financial support. Over the past few minutes, I've talked about how Oxford is changing in March 2014. But let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, there are parts of Oxford that are exactly as they were when you were there. The beauty of Oxford's colleges is just as magnificent as it was when you were there. The beautiful gardens of Oxford colleges, the flowers that are now blooming in late March as the spring begins in Oxford, they are as beautiful as they were when you were there. I must say there's one thing that's even more beautiful this year: the grass on the lawns of Oxford College quadrangles. That grass is especially green this year because, let me tell you, it has been very well watered over the past several months. Oxford is as beautiful as it was when you were there, and I want to encourage all of you to come and visit your university. Come back to that city in which you had such wonderful experiences. We look forward very much to seeing you there. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this special weekend for us. It's now my great pleasure to hand over the programme to Professor Nick Rawlins, who's going to introduce the first session of the morning. Nick is the Vice-Chancellor for Development and External Affairs, but he's also a distinguished Professor of Experimental Psychology. Nick Rawlins, thank you very much.